All right, so we had the hot water heater basically completely fail, and I don't know if hubris is the right word, but in my hubris, I installed our hot water heater in an upstairs area. It was in an effort to have it out of the way in the house, and it developed a very small pinhole leak, but the pinhole leak was by chance pressurized in such a way where it sprayed out onto the floor for hours or days. We're talking a very tiny little leak, but it ended up going down through the floor and got into the sheetrock on the ceiling above and wrinkled out a bunch of the paint. Thankfully, most of the sheetrock is fine. We got the floor itself dried out pretty quick. Went into the attic space, got some of the insulation pulled back, got that dried out, got the sheetrock dried out, you know, turned the heat way up in the house. And so it's fine, other than I need to reprimer, repaint. There's a couple of spots where the tape is cracked and showing a little bit, and I am absolutely not going to redo the tape. So I'm going to hopefully get a tiny screwdriver and pull the tape seam back. Take a cotton swab and swab some wood glue in there, tape it back down, and then get some on top, and basically just, you know, I can't afford and definitely don't want to be re-sheet rocking or texturing. So I'm going to repair those seams, going to get them stuck back down, going to get paint back over them, going to fix that. That's all not a problem. So in this particular episode, what I've done is I was able to purchase a hot water heater, a full-size one. The one I have in the house is half size. And so I purchased a full-size hot water heater used off of Facebook Marketplace for 75 bucks. So if it doesn't work, no big loss. But they said it worked. It was a pull-out. It was a tear-out for a remodel. And it looks like it's in good shape. I have no doubt that it's going to work. It needs to be washed out, get the calcium goop out of it. But other than that, it's pretty much ready to go. So you may be able to see behind me when so let me start here first. So in this video, what we're going to do is we are going to rewire the pump house, and we're going to use EMT conduit and fittings. We're going to break that rule and use some I forget what they call them, liquid tight, or what, it's a flexible plastic, and that we're going to use that, I believe, just for the hot water heater whip connection. I want to be very clear, this is not going to be a code installation. I'm going to do a bunch of stuff that's not to code. If you're an electrician and that will drive you nuts, watch for the sheer enjoyment of, you know, what you would consider utter stupidity. If that would drive you nuts, though, please don't watch this video. What I don't want to have to do is delete a bunch of comments from, you know, a bunch of internet know-it-alls. So I am very aware of the fact that I'm not doing this to code. I built my house, which was to code. I passed all of the electrical and plumbing inspections. I did the foundation. I did all of the framing. I did all of the roof. I did everything. And so I do know how to do a code installation, and this isn't going to be the code. So this is going to be kind of some backwoods wiring. You know, it's not going to be dangerous. I'll make sure everything's grounded. But I am going to be putting Romex in metal conduit, and so that usually drives the electricians crazy. I will also be running 2 runs through conduit into a handy box, and one of the circuits is just going to pass through the handy box. But so if you get triggered by non-code installations, then you should just click off right now. So to move on, you guys can probably see, so when I was in my 20s, I wired this pump house. I was a 20-year-old who didn't give a shit about safety, and so everything's just exposed Romex. It's just, hopefully you guys can see that. So I've got you guys up at a little bit of an angle. So you can see exposed Romex, plastic boxes just screwed right to the wood. You know, I'm 47 now, and that was like when I was 21. And I do know that something could be placed theoretically up here and gouge into the Romex, and you could get electrocuted. But in the 27 years or whatever it's been that I've lived at this house, that's never happened. I've never had a problem one in here. I'm not saying you can't. I'm not saying any of that stuff. I'm just saying this is how I did it. But it's time to get it fixed and make it look a little nicer. So by the end of this video, we'll get a bunch of hard conduit ran. We're going to get you guys readjusted here. We're going to get a run to the pump. We're going to get a convenience outlet here in the wet location. It's not going to be a GFI'd. We're also going to be placing a hot water heater right here. This is temporary, but it's the easiest location that I can place it. I've got a concrete floor. If I have a leak, it's on top of concrete. I don't care at all. It's great. So what it does is it allows me to just tap into, we'll see if you guys can see them. So right behind me here, it allows me to tap into cold water, hot water. I'm just going to bring those up in T, and I'm going to come out into the hot water heater. I'm also going to do a hard line connection for the hot water heater. I'm going to do switched outlets up here on the ceiling for the lights. And I think that's it. I do have what's called an ice cube relay or plug right here. Basically, when it gets really cold and freezes in here, this turns on this janky red light, and the red light just brings it above freezing here. It's a very small space, and you can see we're packed in here, but it's where I keep all my house items, and then we're doing some food storage over here. So we'll get started. It's tight in here, guys. So we'll start out with the fact that when I show you guys the electrical panel, again, I was 20-something, didn't know what the hell I was doing. I've actually got the power coming in. Sorry. I've got the power coming in, routed to a breaker. I'm not sure if that's legal or not. I've got it breakered at the main panel. It looks as if, and it's designed so that the power comes in and goes to lugs. And so your disconnect would be at the main panel. I ran it to a 30 amp breaker here and then used that as my main disconnect at the sub panel here. Don't know if that's legal or not. I need the circuits because right now temporarily the hot water heater is going to go in here. And so I'm going to reroute the main power coming into the lugs so that I can use the 30 amp breaker for the hot water heater temporarily. The hot water heater is going to draw about 26, 24 amps. And then, no, is that right? 24. And then the pump, when it's on, it was originally wired for 110. I'm going to rewire it for 220 and it'll draw less amps. Should draw somewhere about 9. So that's a little over the breaker size out there. The main panel, that's a little over 30. We'll see if it trips the breaker. If I have problems with constant tripping, then I'll deal with it. At that point, I may pull the two 4,500 watt elements and change them over to 3,500 watt or something like that to bring the amperage down. But for now, we're going to try to go for it. So I'm going to show you the panel. It's a mess. It needs cleaned up. All that good stuff. All right, so you can see these wires that are the main wires that feed the panel. These are for bonding the neutral. So a number of things. My neutrals are in with my ground. They're not separated. The neutrals need to be moved down here to the neutral bar, which is down here. The main feed coming in goes to this breaker that should go to 2 lugs that are right here. So we're going to take care of all of that. For now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and run. So there's going to be a run for the pump and a convenience outlet, and that's going to be 2 wires running in 1 conduit, and that's going to be on the very outside. Then the next one in is going to be for the hot water heater, and that's going to run underneath. So I'm going to run the top one here, next one inside of that. Then there's going to be one that's on the inside of those that comes over and does the lighting, which the lighting comes across and goes down to there. And there's a convenience outlet right here. And what I'm going to do is come back up, go across the ceiling right here, and I'm going to put LED here, and then, sorry guys, there's a tight space in here. I'm going to put an LED right over here. So it'll make more sense. It'll make more sense as we go along here. So I'm going to set up the conduit first, because I don't have to pull any of the circuits down to get my conduit ran. I can also run all my rough wiring if I'm not going to reuse any of this, which I don't think it's long enough, most of it. So I can get all my conduits set up, and then I can get my wires stuffed in there, and then I can start pulling circuits down. So we'll get started here. Alright, so I've been fooling around with camera settings, trying to get the bars to go away from the LED creates waves. So what we're going to do, so I think first we'll go over the 2 tools that I'll be using for right now. One will be this impact gun, other will be this Sawzall, and then I've got some sandpaper. Some sandpaper to deburr the edges. So this thing's going like this, only up against the ceiling. So we're going to set the adapters. And I just want them straight out. And since that one's going to be up against the ceiling, I tilted it down a little bit so I can get to it. Alright, there's actually one other tool, and if you don't have them, you should get them, and that's insulated screwdrivers. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take off, right in the road. No bars, good. I'm going to take off this circuit here. So I'm going to try to stay out of your guys' way. Trying to stay out of your guys' road. Alright, that gets that out of here. And we're going to go right where this one is for the lights. So I'm going to temporarily I'm going to loosen up this nut that secures it to the box. In fact, I'll be taking that out. And I'm going to kill the lights for just a second. So, all right, lights are back on. Sorry about that, guys. Ay, ay, ay. Camera, lights, it's all bad. All right, that seems to have the least amount of waves. So, at this point, we've got nothing on this breaker, so it can actually come out. And we'll have to clean that up later. We're going to be swapping this out, I think, for a 3020 space saver. I'll show you guys that in a little bit. So we're going to go into that space right there, which means that needs to come out. All right, let's try this again. So I had to turn off my spotlight because it just was flickering so bad. And oh, we got them both, right on. So this right here is going to be we're going to do the run for the pump, and we're going to get that out of there. We're going to do the run for the pump. And the, what I would call it, the service outlet, I guess is what you'd actually call it. So it may technically be a wet location, probably should use a GFCI or something like that. We're going to turn the pump off for just a second. So that one, we're going to kill the pump. Hopefully you guys can see that. Try not to touch the hot leads. A little 110 on concrete never hurt anybody. As long as it's not wet. Okay. It don't really matter if the pump's on just yet. Sorry, my hand's in the road, guys. Not much I can do about it. Come on, you cross-threading monkey. All right. All right. Hopefully I didn't do anything to that. Nope. Still good. All right. Now we're going to measure what we need for the actual conduit from here up to here. And what did we do with our conduit? Here it is. Need one more tool. All right, so we're gonna go from here that's still a little too long. All right. All right, I'm measuring like, I mean, if I got, I'm measuring 10.5 inches. So, we'll get our handy dandy pen out. So you're going to need these two things. And I just marked it in, can you guys even see it? I marked it right there in 2 spots. Okay. And this should get us right up to the ceiling. Again, I'd like to remind everybody, not code installation. So if you're following my video, you're doing it at your own deal. I didn't have enough 3/4 inch EMT, so I went and bought a piece to do the run across the back wall. So we'll do that next. We'll get some clips and secure the conduit in place. We'll go around the corner. Oh, I know what I was going to tell you guys. So a lot of times when you got a bunch of 90s and EMT, it's hard to pull through. And so if you don't pull it ahead of time as you go along, it's a real pain in the butt to get through the pipe. So I'm going to go ahead and pull, let's see, what wires am I using? We're going to the pump. I'm going to go ahead and pull 2 runs. I've got one run that's going to a convenience outlet and one run that's going through to the pump. They're going in the same conduit. That's why I've got 3/4 for this, so I can get two in there easily without having to really fool around with it. So I will go ahead and I can get it through the first straight section in 190, no problem. The second 90 is maybe a little more of a pain in the butt. The third 90 makes it a real pain in the ass. So I'll probably feed it in through the first 2 90s, and the third 90 I'll measure it out. It just trying to pull it out along the ceiling and getting the Romex to measure out easily, for me, is a pain in the butt, and so it's easier to push it through and have enough in the box that I need, and I can curl it up and then be able to just clip it off pretty close to where I'm working. So that's what's next. All right, guys, so let me explain what's going on here. So I've got the power off at the main panel, and this is probably illegal. I'm guessing. Can you guys see it? Yeah, you can. Okay. I'm guessing that this is not legal to make a main connection like that. Here's my problem. I was stupid and cut this off too short. Again, teenage years, 30 years ago. So probably illegal. I'm still going ahead and make the connection. This goes up to the lug, which you guys can't really see. There's lugs over here. You can see the connection there and there. And this one wasn't long enough to reach. And so I did this, which is probably illegal. I did go ahead and pull the neutral off and move it down here. Now the question is I don't have a ground. I've only got 3 wires coming through here. I don't know if that's legal. I've got a ground. It's got a separate ground right here, and that goes out to the outside of the building. So this sub panel is grounded locally. It's not grounded back at the main panel. So I do have a ground, and it goes outside the building, and then I've got 2 hots and a neutral, and the neutral bar is separated. So I'm sure you electricians are going to comment and tell me whether it's super illegal, a little illegal, or what. So anyways, there we go. Sorry, this recording stuff's still new to me. Pump's not on, so this, we're just gonna get this stuff out of the road as far as we can for right now. And we're gonna hook the pump back up. Sorry about the heavy breathing. I know that always bothers people too. I know it seems like, you know, I think the thing is instinctually, I think what people don't realize is everybody wants to please. I mean, maybe there's channels like Whistle and Diesel where they want to be an asshole, even though I like Whistle and Diesel or whatever his name is. That's just not my style. I don't need to worry too much about haters. Don't really care. And so my natural desire is to make my audience happy. And there's just some on, oh, whoops. I'll have to edit that out. There's some jerks on out in the world that there's not a whole lot you can do to please them. Okay, lights, pump. Yep, grounds and neutrals needed to be separated. I think the neutral was grounding out through the ground path. So, pump's back on. Temp wired up. And life's good. So now we're going to do this next run. All I'm trying to do is get this up in the corner temporarily. Okay. All right, that'll give me the ability to measure. Okay, apparently this 10-footer was exactly the length that I needed. My knees don't work. Ugh. I'm fat. And many years of skateboarding. Okay. So we're gonna take this fitting off here temporarily. We'll get this attached. Get it up there. I'm sure I'm right in your guys' road here. And then what we're going to do is get these clips back on right in the corner here. And secure it back to the ceiling. All right. Oh yeah, that ain't going nowhere. We're gonna put one right here. All right, that ain't going nowhere. So we've got our conduit mostly ran. If I go one more 90, it's really hard to pull it or push it through. I'm not going to pull, I'm going to push. So what we're going to do next is get some of this stuff out of the road. I've got 2 rolls of Romex. Yeah, I've got 2 rolls of Romex that I'm going to shove through the pipe at the same time. If I couldn't do that, what I may do is measure the run and cut the Romex with some extra length. Maybe that's what I'll do. Anyways, we're going to get Romex shoved in there. And then we're going to get our last bit of pipe on there. Okay. So far this has not been easy. This is very, very stiff with 2 lines. I'm trying to keep it flat so it doesn't twist inside. Should be able to get that last bit of wire through. Okay, don't want to bump you guys too bad. Okay, so the last bit of wiring goes here. And alright, so I just quickly cut this to length. It's a little short, but I'm not gonna go get another piece just for this, although I do still need more. Dang it, I'm gonna have to get that clip off. Alright guys, so what we're doing now is we are taking the connection off of the pump. See? Why did I do all that? Because I am putting this in. Oh. Okay, that's a 90-degree connector. Alright guys, I'm trying to show you how this works. So it took 2 hands to get that on right there. And once I get it spun on, you see how this is turned to this direction. I actually use a flathead screwdriver like so. So I'll drive that thing on, you know, by hitting it like that. And then once it's up fairly snug, I've actually got this position that so when I turn this straight, it gets really tight. And so it's all on this floppy thing here, and this needs to be tightened up, and it needs to be lined up with the 90 up there, and I can't do that till I cut the piece. And something that's probably quite illegal, but whatever. This is 3/4 inch EMT, and that's a 1/2 inch hole, and so I'm gonna make that fit so that I can have a convenience outlet there and then pass it through to the pump with those 2 wires there. So that's what's going on here. By the way, I had to unplug these to get that thing spun on, and so mine just happened to be that the blue one was back here and the silver one was here. So I still have to make the connections for the pump. Okay, so we're gonna drill a hole in the shelving here so that I can get this through. And let's see if I did a good job. Yeah, maybe. Let's get these threaded through here one at a time. And we'll do this one first. Down through the hole. Come on. Twisted piece of crap. And then we'll do this one. Damn spider webs. And we're going to feed this through here. I want to keep these in the right order. And poof, just like that. Make sure that this screw is pointing forward here. And we're going to tighten this bad boy up here. So this one's going to come out. That's for the outlet, and this is for the pump. I think I have to take this back off, which is a humongous pain in the ass. I'm sure you experienced electricians are probably laughing because you've had to do this before, or you knew this was going to happen. So basically I'm having to take the 90 off because it's a hard 90 and the Romex won't make the corner. And of course if this was THHN, who knows if it'd be easier. So THHN is single strand. Romex is this stuff. Normally you don't put Romex in conduit like this. Oh, and I have to cut my box. Crap. Alright, this is the sucky part. So, if you're an idiot like me and you're doing this, you have to grind this out to fit 3/4 inch Romex, or 3/4 inch EMT. 3/4 inch EMT. So, and then I'm going to have to route this all through, take this backer off, poke my wire through, put the backer back on, stick it on this, put that on. So, alright, so I took a die grinder with a burr and ground that out to fit. And I'm sure that that's because the handy box is supposed to have one circuit in it. Which, how would you have another circuit in it, right? Except I'm going to run the other one through it. So, you know, it is what it is, right? Okay. Alright, and we're going to, let's see, we're going to pass this one through. That one's through. This one's 2, so this one's going in the box and out the face. And then our box is going to go up here like that. Got some extra there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to, let's see. Actually, I think I got to take this back off only because I can't get the screws in from the back. So we'll get this on. In fact, this has to come all the way off. Okay, so this goes on here like that. And then we're going to, there's a stop on here inside. So we're going to go like that. Get this on here like so. Oop, make sure that's tabbed in the bottom. Alright guys, whip's in. So now all I gotta do is get this box fixed in place. I'm gonna pull a little bit of extra conduit out to the side here. And then we're going to put our wires back, and eventually we're going to cut our Romex to size, which we're going to leave some extra in here. So for now we're going to hook the pump back up because I need my water tonight, and we're going to call this quits. So I got to get that fixed in place, which is just going to require a screw, and we'll get that done tomorrow, and then we'll go from there. Alright guys, we're switching this over to 220 from 110. That was the intention a long time ago, but I never got around to it. So we'll shut the power off to it, and then L1 and L2 need to be hot. Sorry guys, I'm right in your way. So right now it was hooked up to obviously power, hot and neutral and ground. I believe all I've got to do is hot, ground. So there's not much of a change. I don't see any changes to wiring. Oh, the black wire that goes to A needs to be switched to L1. Black goes to L1. Okay, so I do need to switch some wires around. So, all right guys, so what we've got here, let me grab a pointer. We've got this wired up, and now this is hot, and that's hot, and the ground is down here. Right there. And I had to switch. Let's see if I can get you guys in there. On the contactors, you can see that originally I had hot, neutral, and then these two control wires. Black was originally here, and this was on what? A. And so I moved the tracer wire up to B. This is B right here. This is now A, and then these are 220. And so I made that up right there. And then I'm also going to have a convenience outlet right here, which this is a separate run. And then I've got a 3020 space saver, and that gives me the 30 amp for the pump, which I don't need, and then 220 circuits. The only issue is it's got a little, you guys can't see it, it's got a little corrosion on the connectors, so I'm gonna have to fix that and get some dielectric grease, but that's gonna go right there in place of those 220 amps. Yeah, in place of those 220 amps, and then there's a 30 amp that goes there for the hot water heater, which is, the 30 amp is right there. Alright guys, so I'm trying not to get the shadow in the way. So there's the 3020 space saver outlet. And you can see the wire coming in and looping around, and then there's of course this mess, which is the lights that are temporary. So I'll go ahead and get the convenience outlet wired, and then once we do that, then we will be we'll be ready to go with the next circuit. Alrighty, so I'm sure you guys have all seen an outlet wired, but you know, I found that this scalpel actually works really good for splitting the Romex. And then you just slip it over the back. Pretty snazzy. Pretty snazzy. Now, I've been accused of leaving way too much wire in the box, which I'll probably attempt to do again. There's nothing worse than trying to get an outlet out far enough. Let's see. guys. So pumps switched over to 220. There's a circuit that passes through this handy box, which I'm sure is totally illegal, and runs down to the pump. There's a second circuit. This is 3/4 inch EMT second circuit. I pulled them both at the same time. Comes in, and this is just a service outlet for the pump. And if I got to be over here working, because this is a concrete building and it's just, there's not a lot of outlets, or at least not right now. So next circuit that we're going to do is we're going to do the circuit that's going to come over here for the water heater that's going to temp up in here, because my hot water heater in the house is toast, and I'm eventually going to put in an Insta-Hot. So, and then the last circuit we'll do is the lighting circuit, and that's just going to be some switched outlets in the ceiling. So we'll see you guys in the next episode. I hope this helps somebody.